tonight or tomorrow. But a few games are leaking out. And I know how much Aaron Rodgers loves conspiracy theories. He doesn't view them as such, but many people do. So I thought, well, let me throw one of my favorites out. The 49ers on Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football game, that's always a crazy crowd, host Aaron and the New York Jets. You think it's a coincidence? The NFL looked at the Jets' schedule and said, what would be the toughest game? Travel 3,000 miles and face Kyle Shanahan, a brilliant offensive coach in the opener. Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football game? Think about this. Offensive coaches, Andy Reid in September, best coach in the league. McVay, 6-1 in openers. Shanahan, offensive coaches are much tougher to face off buys, extra time to prepare, and in openers. Go ask Pete Carroll what it was like to face McVay last year in the opener when the heavily underdog road Rams went to Seattle and unveiled an entirely different run scheme. Pete and the Seahawks were lost for 3.5 hours. Robert Saleh, defensive coach, nobody knows him better than Shanahan. Well, Colin, nobody knows Shanahan better than... Yeah, but he's a defensive coach. Shanahan's going to unveil all sorts with his veteran team that's got winning inertia, winning momentum at home Monday Night Football. What part of the Jets did they rebuild this offseason? The O-line, 3 veteran O-linemen. Oh, wait. Offensive lines are never synced up in September, especially with 3 new players, and especially now that no veteran offensive linemen really play in the preseason. Those days are past. There's only 3 preseason games anymore. The league is reducing it. And the coaches are reducing playing starters, old starters especially. So think of all the games on their schedule. You face Shanahan on the road, rebuilt offensive line. Oh, by the way, the player that knocked Aaron Rodgers out, Leonard Floyd, he now plays for the Niners. You think it's a coincidence? I've watched the NFL my entire life. Manipulate television networks, the free agent schedule, Christmas Day to take away some oxygen from the NBA. This network and other networks constantly have to tell baseball and hockey how to create more big events. The NFL teaches us lessons. And they chose Aaron in San Francisco as the opener. And why would they do that? Because Aaron's gotten increasingly controversial. And the NFL owns the world. The last time they were controversial was Colin Kaepernick. It hurt ratings. They don't want controversy. They don't need controversy. They don't need clicks. You go look at that Jet schedule with 3 new offensive linemen plus J-Mac, a rookie offensive lineman. You think they're going to be humming week 1 against that pass rush? No chance. That is the...
Okay. So then let's talk about this for a second. Because Colin pushes back a lot. Calls the fans a bunch of weirdos, lonely, weird, desperate people on, YouTube and Reddit and whatever. And their tinfoil hat about conspiracy theories and about how the refs aren't out to get your team and the league isn't fixing games and this or that. He talks about that with regards to basketball, baseball, football. And now here he is saying that the NFL is pulling the strings to set Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets up to fail. And he's saying it like very confidently, quite honestly. He's not saying, hey, this could be like, he could easily say, guys, the NFL doesn't care about Aaron. Aaron's not that important. This was the schedule. I understand it's not ideal for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers week 1, but this is just the way it goes. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, hey, the NFL wants Aaron Rodgers to fail. But why is it okay then for him to say it in that context? But then when other people say, hey, it seems like the NBA is trying to get the Lakers through or the Warriors through or whatever team of the day it is, or the NFL looks like they're trying to get the Chiefs into the Super Bowl. And he says, you guys are just a bunch of weird, lonely people in the comment section. Get a life. That's weird to me. Either the NFL and the powers that be are pulling strings or they're not. Right? They either want to elevate, say, a Patrick Mahomes or whoever and not call penalties, not call holding penalties, or they don't care and they just try to call everything as equal as possible. Like which is it? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't say that the NFL is against Aaron Rodgers, but then for no one else. Like, how does that make sense? It doesn't. You can't have things both ways. Either the NFL pulls these strings or they don't. You can't pick and choose when you want to say that something is being manipulated. And I'm not taking sides, honestly, because I have no idea. I have no idea. What I do know, though, is this. I understand human behavior very well. It's what my formal education is in. It's what I'm also naturally drawn to and have a natural talent, I should say, just like how my mind works, as well as like the actual then formal schooling, to build that up. And listen, I do not think that games are fixed in the sense that a lot of maybe some people believe they are, or sometimes, they talk about it like trying to get a certain team into the Super Bowl or whatever it may be. I don't think the NFL is like, at the top of their castle, pulling levers and strings and doing all that type of stuff. That's too complicated. That's too complex. And that would come out eventually. People are just not good enough at keeping secrets. It would eventually come out. But in terms of now the people who have the ability to set the schedule and that process, I do believe it's very similar to like MVP voting, very similar to Academy Award nominations and whoever, how they go through that voting process, that things can be political and that personal individual opinions can absolutely be influenced. And so I do believe that the powers that be in that regard can have the ability to kind of like nudge something a little bit. And again, I also used to referee. And you have to fight the bias in you. There are sometimes when you're especially depending on the league, when you're seeing some of the same players. I refed into basketball, and I still see this guy's face. He was just like one of the most obnoxious people you could ever imagine, and would just complain every 5 seconds. And it's not that you would just not give him calls, right? Because sometimes his yelling would work, and you would just like give him a call just to be like, get off my back. And other times you would be like, no, that's not a foul. Shut the heck up. Leave me alone. And you're just like not blowing the whistle at all. And like it is like we're human, so you have to kind of fight back and forth. And so when they go through the process of setting up the schedule, voting for awards, whatever it may be, I do believe that a lot of people are not good at fighting their own biases. And if they have the ability to set someone up to fail or to just nudge it a little bit in that other direction, I think it definitely happens. At what rate? I have no idea, right? Like, I don't think it's at a high enough rate, but people obviously do not like Aaron Rodgers. That's just a reality. Do I think that the entire NFL is out to get him? I do not. I don't think that's possible, quite honestly. And in fact, I bet you there's a lot of people within the NFL that agree with Aaron Rodgers on a lot of stuff, because it seems like everything in this country right now is just 50-50. People are either over here or they're over there. But like I said before, I think a lot of people are actually more in the middle than anything. But when it comes down to things like this, I just think it's a little weird and, dare I say, irresponsible and gaslighting for Colin to say this, because again, I wish it was easy. I wish I had a whole team of producers behind me who I could say, hey, can you bring up a clip where Colin yelled at everyone for their conspiracy theory about, rigging a game and how there are a bunch of weirdos on YouTube and Twitter and Reddit. And now he's saying like the league is out to get to Aaron Rodgers. And I just think that that's, I think that's inconsistent and that's not fair for you to tell people on one side they're wrong for having that feeling. And then on the other side saying, hey, this is what the league is doing. They don't like controversy. They want Aaron to fail. I think it's weird. Listen, could it just be a tough week 1 matchup? Yes. But I do think it is a slightly suspect. Why the Jets, who obviously were not good last season, now are facing the reigning NFC champions, the team that was a play away from winning the Super Bowl, why they got them week 1. Like I am a little confused how that works, quite honestly. Like, why is their week 1 matchup not against the Patriots? Right? Like I really don't. Why is it not against the Cleveland Browns, Carolina Panthers? Like, I don't know any of these teams. Like, why is it the 49ers? It does feel suspect. It definitely feels a little suspect, but at the same time, they got to play someone, right? It's not like the league is also going to go out of their way to baby the Jets either and say, oh, you know, Aaron's recovering from an injury, so we got to make sure that he can kind of ease into the schedule. It's not done that way either. But it is weird because you have the Chiefs playing the Ravens week 1. That's a high-powered matchup. And that's a rematch of the AFC Championship game. So why is it like this? And this is where I feel like maybe football should be a little bit more, and I don't know if I believe this, I'm just thinking out loud, but that the NFL should maybe be a little bit more formulaic in that regard, where it's like the week 1 is always a rematch of the AFC Championship or something, right? Like it's always a rematch, which I think could kind of be cool. I mean, it potentially has the potential to get a little bit repetitive, but I think like it should maybe be like, listen, if you're in the AFC Championship game, you're guaranteed to have a week 1 matchup, because that's just, you know, that the fans are hyped. That obviously each division, each conference has a losing team that really wants to play them again. Right, the Ravens want to play the Chiefs again, and so does the fan base. And same thing, like Detroit Lions think, oh my God, we are better than the 49ers. We want that rematch. Like, let's go. And I think like that could always be like a fun, high-powered week 1. 99.9% of the time, everyone's going to be their most healthy in that regard. Obviously, they'll also be a little rusty, but at the very least, they'll be full strength. And I think that would be a way for that. But yeah, I don't know. Quite honestly, I have not really thought about a conspiracy theory. I'm not a conspiracy theory type person, but I do know from direct personal experience and my own background, as I said, that human behavior influences everything. So do I think it's a conspiracy? Probably not. But do I think strong opinions and human behavior influenced this for the Jets? That I can absolutely positively say. But those are just my thoughts. I would really, really love to hear yours on this one. This is a fascinating one, and this is the first clip that I'm recording today, and I was not expecting this at all, quite honestly. Seriously, like, when I saw conspiracy theory, I thought it was something that Aaron Rodgers was saying this, but I didn't realize Colin is just shooting from the hip for this one. But let me know what your thoughts are on this one. Do you think this is an actual conspiracy theory? Do you think it's just random? Do you think the league's out to get Aaron? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.